Hi, and welcome to Gay Out the City. I'm your host, Prince Electro Diamond, and today I am here with award-winning porn star Bray Love. How you doing today, sexy?
I am doing great. How are you?
I am good. It is Friday. Uh,
The 13th.
I know.
Friday the 13th. What a good day.
Well, this is like the first time. It's so weird because, like, as we were talking about before, a little bit before we started,
Mhm.
I just moved. I've lived in Florida my whole life before I moved here, so like, actually being in a place with seasons is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never been to Detroit, but definitely been to like Illinois and Wisconsin. So definitely, is it freezing there right now?
It's Yeah, but the weird thing is I can't feel it in my apartment because I live on the 3rd floor, so, like, I have to walk outside to feel, like, what
Yeah.
it is. Because it's, like I think it's, like, 19 degrees outside, and I'm running fans in my bedroom.
Oh
Because
my
like,
God.
that's
And I'm over here crying about like 40, 50 degrees.
but that's nice, like, all of this.
But
I
like you, I live on the third floor as well, so it does
Yeah.
stay really really warm up here, and I like don't even know if it's raining or what's happening out there unless I actually go out there. So
Oh, right.
yeah,
That's that's why it's, like, usually in the morning, I, like, go during the week, I usually do, like I work out 7 days a week, but it's, like, usually during the week, it's, like, power walking, so it's, like, I go out and I'm like, "Oh, it snowed." Like, if I don't look, it's like, "Oh, it snowed." Like, nice.
yeah. So actually, I filmed my first porn there ever in Madison, Wisconsin, so in the
Oh,
Midwest. So that was my first experience actually, not only with porn but that cold ass weather. Like it feels like you got socked in the face when you walk out into it.
it's what I tell people because people are always shocked when they say, "Why'd you move to Detroit?" It's like, there are a few reasons. One, it's cheap as fuck to live here.
Yeah.
I'm also a musician, and I'm planning on recording an album. Fingers crossed. I have 2 This is the crazy part. I have 2 albums written. Fingers crossed I'm recording next year.
Yeah.
Hope so. Hope to have enough money next year to at least do one of them.
Yeah. At
Yeah.
least one. At least
Yeah.
one. Let's get it
Yeah.
going.
But and also just as an entertainer, like, when I tell people, like, Florida is an amazing place to visit. Anyone who's like, "I wanna visit Florida." Yes, absolutely, go visit Florida. Do
Mhm.
not fucking move to Florida. It's just
Yeah.
it's not no.
That's funny that you say that because I actually considered moving to Miami before I took a couple years in Mexico. Um, and then I was like, what am I thinking? Like, I went to Orlando and then, like, I performed there at Parliament House. And
Yes.
yeah, I performed there right at, like, the weekend after, like,
Yeah.
everything with Pulse and everything. It was really crazy. But yeah, like they like had me like they brought me to the club and like a little like golf cart ATV thing, and it was just like
Right.
so. I just got out of the shower, I was like ready to go, and then I get outside and I'm just drowned in sweat, and it's raining on the outside of the golf cart.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Well, that's what Orlando is crazy. So I'm originally from South Florida, but, like, I lived in Orlando for 4 years. Like, I lived in Orlando a year before. This was the thing, Pulse happened, like so I lived in Orlando for a bit, moved back home for a few months, and then moved back to Orlando. Pulse happened right as I was out of Orlando.
Okay.
Everyone was asking me if I was alright. I was actually in Atlanta at the time trying
Okay.
to chase a scam record label.
Oh.
Hey, this is what I have to say to all the young children out there. Fame is not worth it. Being a mainstream artist is fucking garbage. I just I love
Yeah.
I love it, but, like, I love mainstream artists, but, like, to not have control, especially me. I sing, I write songs, I make my own beats.
Yeah.
So I look at this kind of stuff and I'm like, what are you as a record label going to offer me that I can't do myself?
Exactly.
Other than distribution,
I
which
mean, I think that's where we're at now in a lot of different industries, to be honest, including the adult industry. Even in like the tech industry, which is like what I do outside of like adult content. Um, it's just like what like I don't understand like the corporate thing very much. Like I've done it all my life, but
Right.
um it's kind of funny because we can like all these contracts and things that we're just like slaving away for people to line their pockets. Like we could be doing like right in the comfort of our own home. Like
Right. It's almost why, at least from the people, porn creators, OnlyFans people I've spoken with, the
yeah.
only thing that I would think would make it useful would be like if you were to go in, go in for a few years, get your name known, pull out, and then start doing OnlyFans. Because then you already have an audience that's going to come with you.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I mean, I started initially. I started on like webcamming like as soon as I turned 18. Like I was on Flirt for Free and like some of those other bigger name campsites. So I started like just doing it from my home, anyways. Like out of like freshly 18, like in college, trying to pay for my books, trying to pay for everything, and
Yeah.
then ended up in mainstream. And then now that I haven't done a mainstream in quite a few years. I just do all my own content now. Like, I mean, not that I'm opposed to doing like mainstream stuff. It's just easy, like not having to a take a pay cut for it, b like I can do it in the comfort of my home or somebody else's home or wherever we want to do it.
See, that's very interesting because I always thought like the appeal of mainstream porn is that you are guaranteed money, but what I think a lot of people don't know is that you're not paid as much as
Hmm.
people believe.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, because we have this whole mindset and illusion essentially that it's like you're gonna walk into it and you're gonna walk away with a big bag of money, and it's just simply not true. Especially like now, like back in the day, sure, probably before I was even in there. Initially, it was like that, like you can make a career out of it, but I think it's very, very hard this day and age, to do that without like promoting yourself on OnlyFans or producing your own content, because the pay is definitely gone down, especially since though there are options to just like somebody can just go watch somebody else do it on OnlyFans. But what I do miss about mainstream for sure is definitely having um, the different sets and having different people on set to socialize or like even just get help. Like you don't have to worry about the camera, the lighting, none of that stuff.
right.
So there are like definitely pros to it, and like just the social interaction and relationships that you build with people that are also experiencing similar but different scenarios in their life, I guess.
Totally. I mean, that's in every industry, but it's because I always say creative people create differently. There are some people who are like, put me in a room with 800 people. That's what I say mainstream artists do. It's like, put me in a room with main 800 people. I'm very much different. I
Yeah,
am like, let me put on my headphones. I'm closing the door. If you're trying to get in touch with me when I like feel inspiration come to me, I will not fucking answer. Like, I just, I
yeah,
won't do it.
I
But
100% am there with you.
yeah, works. So I know, where are you originally from?
So I was okay. So long story. I was born in Santa Rosa, California. So for those who don't know, it's about 30-45 minutes north of San Francisco. So that's where I was born. I was raised in Oregon. So my school, most of my schooling I did in Oregon. Grew up there. It was um, a smaller city, but like it was about like I think 120,000, which is definitely like to me that's small because like now I'm in LA, it's like what 12 million or something.
Right.
So yeah, I grew up in Oregon, but I slowly moved back down California. Ended up in San Francisco again, and then after the porn career took off, I ended up down here because I figured that would be where like that industry is mostly at, which is true. But a lot of them are in Vegas now after some of those laws that we tried passing.
Yes. My thing was, as I was telling you, I lived in South Florida. I was born and grew up about an hour and a half north of Fort Lauderdale. So I
Okay.
mean, like, I didn't really. I was in like a small suburb, and I always felt different than everybody else. I
Mhm.
was always, especially like my mind and my creativity.
Yeah.
I look at it, and this is one of the reasons why when I left, I knew leaving Florida was right because I looked around at everybody and I'm like, I do not see a single person here whose life I fucking want. I just,
Yeah.
because everyone's like worried about, like, I mean, granted, I had a corporate job. I feel like, unless for some reason, if I'm lucky as an artist, I can make $100,000 a year, that would be at one point I could quit a job. We all got to work. We all got to work to unfortunately pay the bills. Like, we love what we do
Yeah.
on the side, but that's you in porn, me in music, like, or doing this. It's like we have to all work to
Yeah.
do what we love, and that's sadly just because of the state of things. I mean, granted, LA is expensive. I For a brief time when I was interviewing a lot of people in LA, I thought about moving out to LA, but I'm like, no,
Yeah. Why is that?
because I just thought that I hold on one second. Technical difficulties.
No worries.
Okay. Can okay. You can see me, right? Or
Mm, that's why I was asking. It's been black for quite a while on my end.
okay.
I just didn't want to like say it.
Right, right. No, no, no. You're fine. This is
But
part of.
we could totally start over if we want to.
Um, I'll keep I'll keep trying to figure it out because this is the thing. I can see you and I can see myself. That's what's weird.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe it's you just can't see me on your side. Yeah, it's weird.
Okay.
But we're gonna roll with it. Anyway,
Yeah, I just want to make sure at the end of this you're like, oh no, and then
yeah,
you have to
yeah.
like.
I at least see both of us, so I think that means everything's good. Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
what was
Sorry.
I saying? No, no, no. You're good. Oh, you're asking why it decided that I didn't want to move to LA.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is the way I put it. I have a mouth, and I have no problem telling untalented people that they're untalented. And I feel
Okay.
like that doesn't really fly in LA.
Not so well. No. Like, yeah. I could see how like not being able to filter, especially I personally get where you're coming from, but
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a time here to be filtered, because people can be pretty sensitive sometimes to certain things. I think it's more. I think yeah, you have to be a little bit more reserved because a lot of people are like on this path to their own little dream, and so like anything that's like intimidating to them or anything like kind of freaks them out. So yeah, I totally see what you mean though.
But I mean, and the thing was eventually what ended up happening was I just started because as I tell people that when people are like, how did you get to interview this person? How did you get to interview this person? I ask them.
Hmm.
Like, I got tons of people where it's like, you just send and send and send. That's what you have to do in any industry. If you want to like work, that's what you have to do.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
Lord knows it's not like, I mean, granted, you were fortunate enough to work with a studio, so you got put together with people like Mickey Taylor and stuff like that. Where
Yeah. A lot of big name people.
yeah,
Now I mean I still maintain those connections as
right,
well. Um, I think yeah, it was definitely a blessing as far as like I think that's like a lot of people ask like because they hear all the bad things about the industry, but there really is a lot of pros to it as well. And that being one of them, just the relationships that I made like along the way. Yeah, of course, like in any industry, there's like the shady stuff. There's not so good apples, but I think for me personally, like the whole experience as far as the adult industry was a very very good thing. Um, Especially like after my childhood and upbringing, like I think that it kind of helped me, like it helped mold me into who I am today, and not what you see it on camera necessarily, but it also made me confident in like what I can accomplish as well.
right. I mean, I totally get that. I'm someone who basically, as an artist, kind of rebelled against everything that I was brought up as a child because I was raised Roman Catholic,
Okay.
sort of very strict. You don't do this, you don't do that. You go to church every Sunday.
Oof.
I was first Saturday. I was in youth group. I was in choir, which
That's kind of funny. I was in youth group and I went to choir too.
yeah, I
So
never I never really liked it. Even when I did choir in high school, I never really liked it because I was always the person, and this obviously just shows who I am. I was the person who, like, when we had free time, I would remember like bringing over my best friend and like telling him about this idea of like, I want to do this and I want to set this on fire and I want to do this song and I want to like have things explode. Like I still
yeah,
kind of am that way today.
that's
I,
fun. I feel
I
like that was me in youth group.
yeah, and like the thing was, well, actually, no. That leads me into my next question.
Okay.
My religious upbringing. So, what was it like for you coming out?
Okay. So growing up in Oregon, I mean, they're a little bit more conservative in the place where I was personally. But my parents were actually, my mom is very like anti-religion. So it's kind of funny um, that in the end, like her and I ended up having a very, very rough relationship. Like, I've been on my own since 14. So like it didn't work out between us, which is okay. But yeah, very rough. I think I was bullied a lot, definitely throughout school. Like definitely on a daily, if not multiple times a day, the F bomb, like
Right.
the whole like kids hitting me on the bus, like saying the F bomb, like people would be like, oh, don't sit next to him, da 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 da. So it was a very rough upbringing, and it kind of put my mental health in not so good place for a long time. And I think that's where once I was of age and I was going to school, and I mean porn and webcamming and stuff just came about because I was like, I'm broke as fuck. Like I need money. So
Right.
so like I did it, and I did it to like help myself um live better, like while I was studying web design and stuff like that. So it was definitely a rough start for me. It took a lot to put the pieces together and like get everything on a good path, but um that's just the sad parts. Like there was good parts too, but
Well, there's sad parts with everything. Just like I always say, I was kind of fortunate because I only had to come out to one parent because I came out 4 months after my mom passed away. So it's just having to come out to my dad, and then I have an older sister who was super accepting. Cut to last year, my sister came out. So it's like
okay.
that was. nice to have. That was family was good. Family and friends were good.
Okay.
Now to the church.
Ah.
I I made a mistake and came out to a youth minister.
Oh
No, no,
no.
no, no, children, don't, no.
Don't do it.
Um, and I told him about this performance idea I had with a knife and how I practiced stabbing myself. I'm dramatic, obviously, like the fucking drag queen. Like,
Yeah.
but I remember he left the room. He came back in about 10 minutes later, and he said, "Okay, you have one of two options. Either you're coming with me, or I'm calling the cops."
Okay.
Now, in hindsight, I would go back and tell myself, let him call the cops, let him call the cops. They're not going to do anything with him. They're not going
Mm.
to do anything to you. They're going to like ask you a few questions. They're going to let you go. I went with him to get a psych eval,
Ooh.
and they had told me I had passed it. I remember being on the phone with my dad and just being like, "Yeah, come back here and get me, dad. I'm good." And then all of a sudden, I had a cop yell at me. He's like, "Get off the phone!" I'm like,
Oh.
"What the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm over here minding my own business." And then they stuck me in a hospital room, and then for 5 hours, they didn't tell me anything.
Wow.
Eh. And then that's when they told me that I had been put on a suicide hold, and I got transported to a behavioral clinic where I spent 64 hours
Hmm.
trying to get out. And then after I got out, he wasn't done. Like, he set me up with a therapist
Yeah, I did
to pray the gay away.
that.
And we all see how well that
Okay.
worked.
Yeah. I did the whole. I don't know. It wasn't necessarily a psych. I don't know if it was a psych eval. I don't know. I know my mom definitely like tried the whole take me to a doctor, and then the doctor did a like it's kind of a psych eval. I guess is what it is. It's just a whole bunch of
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
But like I personally haven't went through that knowingly, so like it was just me answering a whole bunch of questions like how are you feeling, like da, da, da. Have you ever thought about harming yourself or anybody else, like all that stuff. So if that's a psych eval, I guess we did
Yeah.
that one. So yeah, which ended up like I ended up just like at a therapist. It didn't last long because like the therapist was actually like I think he kind of realized that it wasn't necessarily only like I was a problem child too. Don't let me fool you. I was a problem child. I did not always do my homework. I was ditching class sometimes. Just doing like teenage boy things. Like
Right.
my mom didn't really let me have a life like outside of our house. Like not no going to friends' houses, not like nothing. So like I took where I had opportunity, like I took it, and not every day, but some days. But I think the therapist kind of realized that it was more of just like um, teenage boy things. Like, I mean, I was like 12, 13, so teenage boy things. Um, and he was like, I guess, kind of trying to convince her to kind of have incentives for me for her to get what she wants and me to get done what I need to, if that makes sense. So she didn't really like that. So she ripped me out of there real quick. Like she got the meds and tried to put me on like depression meds and like ADHD meds, which I am ADHD, but
Aren't we all?
yeah, but Wellbutrin for sure. I remember that because that shit made my stomach hurt so bad. But yeah, like she didn't like what he had to say, so she ripped me out of there like really quickly, and then like our relationship didn't last much longer after that, um, which not a problem on my end. So
It's very interesting because it's like I always say, especially like being with like me and my sister. Like my dad is was super accepting when I came out, but
mm,
then all of a sudden my sister came out and he was just giving her a hard time, and I'm like,
interesting.
isn't this supposed to be the other way around?
Yeah.
Like she's calm and normal and like has a dog and all this, and I'm a transvestite who walks around half naked and wears fishnets, and you have less of the problem with me? Like this
Yeah,
I didn't understand it. And like they're now not speaking and
interesting.
I'm kind of in the middle, but I also told him I'm like, "Look, I agree with my sister over here cuz like one of the things that I'm grateful about is like for many years my sister and I weren't close and then once she found out I was moving to Detroit, we had this like 2-hour long conversation and we just became closer again. And
Yeah,
it's like I love that. That's honestly probably one of the reasons I knew like I'm home. That's where I need to be.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting that it was a different scenario. Because usually you're right. It would be opposite. Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like that kind of goes with society as a whole too. Like, lesbians are like totally okay, but like straight people just can't like get with a whole two men. Like, I know so many straight guys that are like, oh yeah, two girls kissing on this movie, but like if it's two guys, it's totally different. It's interesting how that works.
And you also have the quote unquote straight guys who are like they're like, ew, two guys kissing. Meanwhile, all of a sudden they hit me up on my grinder wanting to come fuck me. So like
That part. Or sticking their dick
yes.
in a glory hole. Can I say dick? I don't know.
I've said fuck like 7 times. You can say whatever you
Okay.
want.
I just like to make sure,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I've been streaming on like Twitch and like all these different places lately, and I'm
Uh,
like, oh my god, can I say that? Uh,
I used to do Twitch. The last time I did a live interview, I got in trouble, and I'm like, I'm over this. No,
okay, yeah,
because they're like, because this is my thing. I'm not gonna get a porn star on here, and I'm not gonna ask them what was their first day on set like, or like what is the freakiest thing that you've been asked to do.
yeah.
Like
Oh yeah,
these are
that's true.
questions.
That's
Yeah,
true. That's true. I would-
these are questions like if I'm not supposed to talk about sex, why don't you tell me that? Why? Because literally, I got a text on my phone. They're like, "You have one more strike, and we're banning your account."
Wow.
I'm like, okay, not doing interviews on Twitch anymore. That's fine.
So they do have. I noticed the other day because I have it set up for mine because of like I just well I'm playing video games while streaming, so it's like
Yeah,
it's just natural for me to just like kind of be unfiltered. So like I do definitely have like some settings on there now, like where it may contain sexual content or adult content or da 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 da, just to cover my bases. Even if I'm fully bumbled up, like I'm like,
right.
no.
But
Um,
it's also it's like we're on the internet. Like even if you like censor it, newsflash, people see Bray Love, guess what they can do? They can fucking Google Bray Love, and if they don't have safe searches on, they can see everything you've ever fucking done. So it's like,
yeah,
why are we having to censor what we're speaking? And
yeah.
then I don't know. I'm so against censorship overall. That's why at some point I keep on thinking about like maybe one day I'll do radio, but I realize I'm like, okay, I'll be the person who's like, listen, you have the button, just sit there. Just sit there. Because I know I'm gonna say something. Just like sit there, get ready to press it, and like I'll be on a delay. And if you have to delay half my show, I don't give a shit. But like,
Right. Or believe half of it. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm the same way. Like I prefer not to like have any kind of filter. I just like even sexually uh just life in general. I'm pretty open book. Like if somebody asks me something 99.9% of the time I'm going to answer it unless I have a very good reason not to. I'm just going to word vomit and just be like, that, there you go. You asked.
right. And it's also it's like when people think about honesty, it's like I'm a musician. If I'm hiding any part of it, because it's like, why am I gonna hide something that I've probably already written a song about? Like
That's true.
That's why another reason I don't want to go mainstream, and I know I can't go mainstream, is because I've been sexually assaulted and raped before, and I wrote about both of those on my first album. And I'm like, if this was a mainstream album, they'd be like, that's too edgy. You can't
Yeah.
do that. You can't do that. You're trying to do dance pop music. You can't do it.
Yeah.
It's too dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, I for sure. I don't know. Like I got my TikTok deleted like a couple of years ago, which had quite a decent amount of following on there. It was crazy too because it was like I literally had a glass, like a little glass with like Coke in it, like
Yeah.
Coca-Cola, and like it had like Fireball or something. And I cheers the glass in a video and like went like that and like was about to go out and they banned me for it, saying I was promoting alcohol. And I was like, wait, who said there's alcohol in my cup? I mean, there was. They got
Yeah.
me. But
Right.
like, who you didn't know unless you were there. It's just
I-
crazy to me because it's like, oh, the children, and no offense, anybody, but like they shouldn't be on the internet. Maybe like do spend a little bit more time with them.
Right. And this was the thing where people like, oh my gosh, the internet. I'm like, the internet's been around for years.
Yeah.
Actually for decades now at this point. And it's
Yeah.
like things have gotten worse because the worst thing is, especially in the porn industry,
Oh.
you always have to up because like somebody's like, that's the craziest thing that somebody's ever done in a porn. And it's like, no, just wait, because they have to think of the next perversion that somebody else will be attracted to. And that's what I shouldn't say perversion like it's a bad thing. It's like
Yeah.
it's like you do you, but like
We don't kink shame here. We don't
yeah,
kink shame.
no. I always say like again, you do you. Now, am I
Yeah.
necessarily going to do every kink that you want when you're with me? No.
Exactly.
Like I have
Exactly.
my limits.
Exactly. As long as we're not hurting anybody or there's no fucking kids involved, no offense to
Yeah.
anybody, but as long as there's no fucking kids involved, no animals involved, or nobody's getting hurt, we are good. I have no room to judge. Which I think leads us into one of your other questions.
Which was okay.
Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
yes. Yes. Okay. So, well, I guess I'll ask this one and then I'll ask that one. So, I guess what was it like for you moving to LA?
Um,
Both times, I guess.
Wow, I mean, moving to LA was like a so funny thing is that ever since the fifth grade, and I don't know why, I don't know how, but like fifth grade when like I was like on the playground with friends, like I was like, I'm gonna end up in Southern California, like sunny beaches, like all that stuff. And eventually, like I mean, it took quite a while, but like eventually,
Right.
that's what I made happen. I moved to San Francisco after high school, and after the first time I went to college, I moved to San Francisco and like spent about 6 years there, and it really just kind of lost its spark for me. Um, and so, like, I mean, and that was like kind of what brought like the porn career alive in the first place.
Right.
So I'm kind of a little ambitious sucker. Like it's not that I'm never like satisfied. It's more so that like I have big ambitions, and like if I don't feel like I'm actively contributing towards them,
Right.
I don't feel very good about myself. So I think like I came to a plateau in San Francisco, not necessarily a bad way, just a plateau, and I just wanted more for myself, and definitely I guess like I mean obviously LA is like the place to be as far as like film stuff in general. So I moved down here. My experience was very good. I know that there is a lot of um, negative opinions about LA, and I will have to say, like, I never really experienced that. Like, I mean, I've experienced it, but like here and there, it's not like a daily, weekly, or maybe even yearly thing that somebody is like just a straight up asshole. Actually, I had a lot better experience here with people just like coming up and socializing with me than I did in San Francisco.
That is so interesting. The one thing that I can say to your wanting to always be in California, I always thought I was going to end up in New York at some point,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like I had a lot of places. Like when I moved, like when I first moved to Orlando, I remember just being like, I was from small suburbs, South Florida. I'm like, I have to get out of here. Like, I knew this. I looked at everyone. I was in college. I dropped out not long after that because I knew I'm like, college is not for me. Like,
Yeah.
it really, and I moved to,
Especially when you have to pay the rent. Like,
right.
that's why I did, like, I never got any pieces of paper. Sorry, degrees.
Yeah,
Um, because like I always had to, like, I've been on my own since 14. I had to worry about paying the bills. Like I had to worry about
exactly.
my phone bill. So like if somebody needed to get a hold of me, like I could get in touch with them. I had to worry about rent. I had to worry about everything. So it's like I mean, for those who have it a little bit easier, as far as like financially, like that's great. Uh,
Right.
I was trying to do everything in my power as far as like for how much college I got. I'm blessed that I got that much because like I had to do it all. Like,
Yeah. And my thing was, I did end up getting a degree. I have a degree, not from college, but like when I went to Orlando, I moved there and I went into technical school for audio engineering and music production. And then
mhm.
I realized I'm like, I love producing beats. I love doing all that. I could not sit there and engineer for people because everyone's like, you get to work on such amazing projects. You'll get to work on this. You'll get to work on that. I'm like, yeah, but for every talented person you have to produce, you have 8,000 other untalented people that you have to sit there and listen to them sing off key and sing this and have to sit there and auto tune their vocals. And
Yeah,
I, I'm like, there are not enough. I'm going to put it this way as someone who's like pretty much sober, there are not enough drugs in the world for you to give me to where I can numb myself to listen to somebody sing off key. And it also feels like disingenuous because it's like you're taking their money knowing that they have no talent.
that's true. Yeah, the morality part of that is kind of
Yeah.
crazy to think about. Yeah. Um, well, I guess we're never going to karaoke together.
I
Okay,
don't I don't judge my friends. Yeah.
okay.
And well that's the thing. I don't judge attractive people either because it's like I swear if I was ever the judge in American Idol and they had the untalented person, I'd be like, but you're so pretty. And
Right.
like you just sit there and like act ditzy. It's just like, oh my gosh, you're like so hot, like work.
Yeah.
But that no, karaoke is intense with me because it's like being like one of my. This is just a way to describe how I am as a singer. One of my biggest vocal inspirations is Christina Aguilera. So like, I very much trained myself how to do that, which a lot of people are like, can you teach yourself how to do that? Yes, it takes a lot of time and a lot of work.
Mhm.
But if you want to do something, because I looked at and you just work and work and work. And this is the thing that I have to tell people as a singer: you hate your own voice at some point. Like,
Yeah.
there's some days where I'm like, I just have to sing, but I'm like, God, I hate my voice. I fucking hate it. But I do. So yeah, I lived in Orlando. I was trying to go again to Atlanta to a scam record company, which was stupid. I blew a big opportunity in Orlando. I had a chance to open for somebody, and I had to turn them down because I was in Atlanta trying to
Mhm.
chase a scam. Sometimes you live and learn. And
Definitely.
it wasn't, I also view when people are like, oh, I didn't do this. Oh, it wasn't my time. Like, I'm ready now. And I feel like I'm in a good place now. It's
Yeah.
just like, when you want the fame, that's all why I always tell people it's like if you go into porn, if you go into music, if you go into anything in the entertainment industry for fame, you're gonna end up hating
Yeah,
it.
that's
Fame or money.
yeah, that's pretty much. Especially, I mean, yeah, I can see how like a musician, people in the music industry would have issues as well. Same kind
Right.
of, it's same concept, different industries, but definitely porn. Like, I mean, even like having like OnlyFans or just for fans and like my own website, like
Right.
it's not nothing is guaranteed. Like nothing is guaranteed, and like even in mainstream porn, like I mean you'll have exclusive contracts where you can only work with that company and they'll give you this many scenes a month or a year or whatever, but it's not guaranteed like how long that will last. So like it's definitely good to always have a backup. Keep your sights on what you want if that's what you really want. But to me, I mean, that's why I got into tech and stuff like that because I was like, I need, like, if shit comes tumbling down, like, I need to have a
Right.
backup plan. And so, like, the last 4 years is that, like, that's what I've been doing, is working in tech. I still have my OnlyFans. I still have my Just for Fans. I
Yeah.
think that says a lot about like the following that I attracted back then, the ones that I've maintained over the years. Um, they're definitely loyal and they still want things. So like, I don't know. It's my little fan base. I love it.
Yeah. And you love your fans. I always tell people like what this came out of. This and podcast initially came out of people not wanting to book me as a drag queen because a lot of times bitches are threatened by people who sing live when all they do is lip sync.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like I always tell people I had this discussion with somebody. I'm like, when you're in the entertainment industry, no longer are we in the days where you can only do one thing. You have to do
Exactly.
so much different stuff. And it's like,
Exactly.
granted, not everybody's I would love to say everybody do this. Actually, don't. I want people to keep on coming here, so don't interview people. I don't need any competition. No, I'm kidding. But like, it's not everyone's good at everything. Like some people, I had to tell people, it's like, listen, my two of my biggest inspirations as an interviewer, Wendy Williams, Howard Stern. Like,
Really?
yes, I do. I love Wendy, and well, okay. I love old Howard. New Howard who got rich,
Yeah.
not my cup of tea. It's like when you stop being relatable to people.
Yeah, it's funny how fame like gets to people's heads. Like I mean I know a lot of people from many different industries, like whether it be music, whether it be Rue girls.
Right.
Like I know a broad amount of people that like were got really big and like kind of let it get to them, and that's what I never understood because I mean I guess that's kind of one of the reasons like I'm still like you know I still think about like the fan base that I do still have because I'm thankful for not only like what they probably don't know what they helped me get through during some rough times in my life, but
Right.
also like I don't know like remember the little people like always stuck with me, and it's not to say like anybody's little, it's just like I think there's more impact that my fans have given me and continued support even when I haven't done some like a mainstream thing in a couple years or something. Like they're still there in the background, like they
Totally.
still reach out, they still like every single photo I post or like I see you like
Yeah.
um so yeah, I think that's kind of what drove me. Like, yes, I am veering off in a little bit of a different direction, but still kind of keep my toes in that pool too, just to make sure. Maybe I decide that fuck tech and like I want to attempt to do that full time. Not likely, but I mean it could happen.
No, it's like And it seems I'm going to say this, and then we're gonna get to the next question. There's you seem like as somebody who lives in LA, you seem very level-headed. And from what I know about LA, because I've interviewed enough people from LA,
Mhm.
there's a lot of times where people let the slightest fame, as you just said, get to their head.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden they think they're better than doing other things. Like they're better than doing smaller interviews.
I could 1000% agree with that. I can name 10 right now, but I'm not going to. But yeah, people, it's just, it's kind of sad. And like, that's the thing is like, I always didn't want to be like one of those people. Like, I do remember when I first moved to LA, like, that's when like the peak of the industry for me personally. That's when like I was exclusive with Naked Sword and Falcon. And
Right.
I was also a production assistant. So I was doing sound, I was doing editing for them as well for other movies and stuff. And when I moved here, I did have instances where, like, I would go to the club or I would go, even because I lived in West Hollywood at the time, or
Right.
Hollywood. Um, I would go to the store and like people, like I was even at Knott's Berry Farm one time,
Wow.
and somebody came up to me very politely but very awkwardly, um, and was like, I love all of your DVDs because I'm old now, but I was on DVD. um, but yeah, he's like, I have like all of your DVDs, and I was like, that is really cool. Actually, that is really cool that like I would run into somebody at Knott's Berry Farm. Interesting place, but yeah, I think it's just weird. Like, I don't know. I know a few people, and actually, I've had a few friends recently that have like made good names for themselves, but then they kind of go MIA, and I'm like, I know you're not that busy, um, but yeah, I don't.
No.
It's funny, and it's even funnier when it's the ones that are like, I'll never be that person. Like, there's somebody that I know that is very big right now, and they used to ask me before my old Instagram got deleted. They used to ask me to tag them in things so they could get followers. Like, they used to request like me to specifically tag them so they could get more followers. Now they're like, they have a little bit of fame right now, and
Right.
now we don't really speak anymore, and it's like, okay, I see how this is, but it's
But there are some people that like sometimes it's even people like granted, I'm not gonna say names, Ricky Roman. No, I'm kidding. No, that's a joke. Ricky's my friend, and I pointed out to him that he knows he's impossible to get a hold of. Like,
yeah,
so like,
that's funny as fuck.
so
I
like,
love Ricky.
yeah,
I
I
love
know.
Ricky. I have some fun. Oh my god, I have some fun times with Ricky. Um, Huss the Ball was a good time. Ricky, if you ever see this, that was a good time. Me, him, Ryan Rose, quite a few other people. That was amazing.
Yes, but it's like this was the thing. Like, he's doing great. He's not in LA anymore. He sounds like happy that he's not in LA anymore, which I'm
Yeah,
like, for some people, that's a good thing. I'm not gonna say, oh, LA's bad for all people.
yeah.
I don't say LA's bad. This is what I have to say, and some people may call this sexist, whatever, I don't care. I honestly think there's sometimes with female musical artists, when
Mhm.
they have kids, their music goes to crap. Like, it just it's not, I don't know, like,
I'm smirking because I'm like, isn't that anytime you have kids? Like, doesn't everything just go to hell?
But you're right, and that's why one of the like one of the examples I always think of is Pink, who I think is like extremely vocally talented. She had a kid, and then all of a sudden she put out music, and I'm like, well, where's the edginess? Where's the rawness that she used to do? Like,
Yeah.
you used to sit there and like want to break stuff and like drive a lawnmower and stuff, and like, where is that? Like, now we're just supposed to believe that you're calm. That's why
It's so funny.
yeah.
I know. Yeah, that's why when I have female friends who are like, we just like me and my boyfriend or fiance or whatever it may be. They're always like, yeah, we really want kids, and I'm like, don't do it. Do not do it. You will. No, I'm not that bad, but like, I'm like, but what about all the things you won't be able to have anymore? I guess that's selfish. I don't know.
Well,
But at least I'm honest. Like, I used to want kids when I was, 22. I was like, I saw myself as a dad someday. But now I'm like, no, absolutely not. Like, keep those demons away from me.
no, it's because I always tell people, if you are in the entertainment industry, children in the entertainment industry do not go
Mm-mm.
hand in hand with each other. It's like this is the thing. When I always tell people, like, when I had partners who are like, oh my gosh, can we have kids? I'm like, yeah, we can have kids if I spend half my time overseas on tour. And I'll have to see the kids. Yeah,
Right.
I'll have kids with you then.
Yeah.
But like, if I have to be here every day, no,
Yeah.
because it's like, I always say I was a late. Probably you were in porn, so I already know that you were an early bloomer. But like, I was very late to the sex game, so like, I'm making up for lost time.
Yeah.
So I always tell people I'm like, I'm thinking about all the stuff. I'm like, okay, so I can't have a friends with benefits over anymore because I have a kid and I have to be responsible, and I
Hmm.
can't have two dudes over and we have sex with each other and like
Right.
party and all.
Yeah. I'm like,
Barf.
yeah, and they're fucking expensive.
That
Like,
too.
okay, you get a fucking tax credit, but like, that's not good enough for me. Like, those kids are expensive, and like, until I mean, I guess if I was rich, like, I probably like would reconsider it a little bit differently. Like, but I'm like, no, the tax credit does not. It's not that much.
And yes, tax credit's not that much. And plus, I'm gonna point this out. Everyone thinks, oh, kids are great, kids are wonderful. Kids fucking age you. Remember that.
That part, yeah. Yeah,
Like,
I know. There's only like one kid that I'm like, sorry about that.
it's
There's
okay.
only like one kid that I'm like semi okay with, and like that's because he's kind of cool. Like for his age, he's like he kind of had like he has his mom's. It's my nephew. He has his
Yes.
mom's like witty humor, so like
Right.
it's okay. But like all the other ones, I'm just like stay away. And having my own, like, I think it was a little just like in the moment kind of thing. And I'm so glad that like I didn't test out that theory, because who knows like where that poor human would be at this point. But at least I can like openly say that. Like, I think like I'm in a spot, and I've been in a spot where I need to think less about other people and more about myself. Um, in a selfish kind of way, because like I
Right.
obviously strive to not be selfish, but it ends up just like giving and giving and giving, and I think that I just don't have it in me to be giving shit to a kid. No offense, anybody.
No, but it's like, yes, we're in the entertainment industry. When people are like, oh, don't you want to have kids? This is my thing as an artist. It's like, then I'm gonna have to get through the age. I'm gonna be like, if I have a kid, it's like, oh, especially if I have a daughter or like a gay son who's like,
Right.
where they're like, and I have to say, oh my gosh, you're dressing too risque, and they're like, really, you're gonna tell me that, Dad, when you're wearing fishnets and a thong on stage? Like,
That
you're gonna tell me that? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, that's why. I think who was it? It was Madonna who had that in an interview. She had her daughter say like that's rich coming from you when her daughter said she was or Madonna said what she was wearing was too risque. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's why you don't have kids. Because kids eventually will become smartasses and
I
like
mean, look at Kim Kardashian's kid. Like she's always saying similar kind of things, like popping off, and I'm like, oh, see, this is why I don't have children, because eventually they will have it in them to talk back and test
well
me.
Kim Kardashian also had kids with a
Narcissist, yes.
I was gonna say alleged psycho, but I don't even think alleged psycho is Kanye
Yeah,
West is fucking crazy. I'm just gonna say it. Like
yeah,
he's never
I
gonna
agree.
watch this. He's never gonna watch this anyway. He's too
Yeah.
busy walking around in a black suit covering his face. He's not gonna fucking watch
Right.
this. Anyway, so where am I?
Yeah.
So no, this is a good thing. When I don't have to pull teeth to get conversations out of people, it makes my life so much easier.
Yeah.
I have a few interviews that are cringe.
Mhm.
One one is with somebody in LA. I'll talk to you after about who it is. I
Mhm.
don't want to say it on camera because I've been saying too much, and I'm trying to behave.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a good trying to be a good bitch today. We'll
Okay.
see. So
Yeah.
watch. I'm gonna say something. I know it.
Don't do it.
So so what so like what made you want to get into porn?
Um, I guess okay. So back in the day, I used to like actually have a large following on MySpace, which I actually um started creating some fucking emo punk music back in the day. So like some of that following I still have actually. Some of them have followed me since then, but that was like right before 18 through being 18. And I guess like that whole like MySpace thing obviously is not a thing anymore. And we all went to Facebook for whatever reason. And college, money, I needed money.
Right.
And like, who doesn't want to like get paid to like suck a dick? Like, like, I mean, it was easy money at the time. Like that was the amateur porn. Like that shit was easy. But once you get in the mainstream and like even just producing, because produced like I had my own company. I had my own studio in 2012, um, and like mainstream, like producing your own stuff, like the OnlyFans and Just for Fans stuff. It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
I miss the days sometimes where I just walk in, like do the job, bust the nut. It would be amateur, so there's not much that really goes into it. They're just like, okay, thank you, and here's your money. So yeah, it was a lot of the money. The appeal of I guess like the whole stardom within the industry was appealing at the time. And then I really just wanted to like get into it as well to understand like because all you're seeing like on Pornhub and like wherever you are consuming your adult content, you're seeing what we're allowing you to see. You're seeing the movie magic. You're seeing like whatever the director and producers want you to see, just like with
Right.
any kind of film content. You're not seeing like the bullshit. That's all been cut. So
Right.
like I wanted to see like how that worked. Film and photography and stuff like that has always been a passion of mine. So it's kind of interesting that I took this route rather than like, you know, mainstream non-adult movies. But I still like to do like I have a couple projects that hopefully will be started this year that are less adult content and more like independent gay films. So yeah, I actually that's part of the reason I moved to LA as well, is to get more involved with with a little bit less adult content. Still sexual, because I'm probably never going to take a script that doesn't kind of fit my personality a little bit. But yeah, so money, money, sucking dick, just understanding how the industry works and like being close and hands on with film and photography stuff was really where my mind was at during the time.
Right. Work.
Yeah.
So I will say, what is well, first of all, the thing is the amateur days, like amateur porn and all that stuff. It's like work. It's like obviously you're in a room where you're filming, and then probably the next thing the prostitute comes in with a pimp, and like they're gonna use it, and like that's
That's funny.
that's life. But
So, yeah, pretty much. I mean, my first film, I'm pretty sure this was one of your questions is like how I got
that's
into it and like first film
yeah,
or
yeah. That's the next one. God,
yeah. So kind of funny. I'm not gonna bring up any names or anything because I think it's personally funny. So I actually went to Madison, Wisconsin for my first actual like somebody else holding the camera. There's multiple people. There's like a lot going on than just me and a webcam or me and somebody else with their camera phone or whatever. I went to Madison, Wisconsin. I filmed at a bar in Madison, and I didn't realize at the time, but I didn't realize like how they were casting for this specific um, film. So it was just like they told me that they were taking care of everything, and I mean they bought me my business class flight. That's like fine. Got on the flight. Like me and the crew gets there. We start trying to film. I knew that it was going to be like a full length me. Like the I'm in every single scene in this movie.
yeah,
It's like a movie about me. So I knew all that. I knew those details, but I didn't know like how we were casting it. I didn't know anything about how the industry really worked when it was even in amateur porn.
right.
So I do remember that they were using Craigslist to find my to find my other, I guess, scene partners, if that's what you want to call them. But I do remember that somebody that they were trying to set me up with, they came to the hotel, and I guess we were just going to film it in the hotel. Um, they came in and like totally whoever set this up got me catfished. Like they used my photos, obviously, but and
Right.
like explained what we were doing, etc. But the person that showed up was not what they were saying they were, or who they were, or what they were. I don't know. So I was just like, oh my god, like this is not happening right now. Like, what am I doing? Um, the producer and one of the cameramen like took care of it, but they ended up like ratting us out and telling the front desk that we were filming porn in their
Wow.
hotel, which got the police involved. And mind you, this is the first scene of the movie that we were supposed to film there. So it was a big fiasco. We ended up finding a spot to do it, and found some better models. But I didn't realize that um, it was going to be casted like that. I think I would have probably thought a little bit harder about it. I'm not going to lie. I probably still would have did it, but
Right.
but I would have been a little bit more. I would have thought about it a little bit more.
See, I kind of that's crazy. I will say to my start, I'll say my start as a drag queen because obviously I knew I wanted to be a musician, obviously since like the age of 15. But like I remember I kind of found drag on accident. And like unlike most of the queens who are like, oh, I got started here. I got started at Parliament House. I got started there. I got started in open mic nights with straight dudes. So like just doing music, because when you're a musician, you have to do open mic nights to
Yeah.
start out. Unless you're gonna be the drag queen who actually I didn't even think of myself as a drag queen. I thought of myself as like a quote unquote drag alien at that point. Like drag adjacent. I
Yeah.
wasn't the stunning creature you see before you now. But like um I just remember that was some of my greatest times, and that's where I learned how to work a room. That's why when people see me against other drag queens, they're like, "You work a whole room." I'm like, "Yeah, because you have to. When half the audience is against you, you have to get them on your side. It's one of the hardest things to do, but it's something I am sort of elated to do again.
Mhm.
I'm going out in Detroit at some point. I've kept on putting it out because I've been tired and like the
You,
weather's been
you
shit.
haven't been out yet?
Not in Detroit, unfortunately. Not. It's just like I felt tired, and then I realized like the one thing that I have to do, and I did it today with this interview. I'm like, if I put everything out and get it ready, so that all I have to do is grab shit the next day
Mhm.
or grab stuff in a few hours, that means I'm going. Like I don't have to sit there and like dig through my shoes and dig through my wigs and dig through my sunglasses to like find what
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear. Or like if I just put it out, it's like, well, now you don't have an excuse, miss. Now you gotta go. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
I mean, that's kind
it,
of what I did. That's kind of what I did today. I was
yeah,
like, I'm gonna put this right here. These
yeah,
lights weren't even up. I was like, I'm gonna throw these on the floor by the
yeah,
wall so that way I could set them up. Um, yeah.
because
If I put things in my way, I tend to get them dealt with a lot better if I out
right,
of sight, out of mind. You know?
yeah, and the like some of the first times. I mean, granted, I will admit, I did get in trouble once for swearing at a bar. Like, this is
For
crazy.
swearing.
For swearing at a bar, yeah. So, like, well, not in trouble. I got told not to do something. So, the week before, I had ended my set by screaming "motherfucker" in a microphone, and then the next week there were old people in the bar, and I got told by the owner, she's like, "Yeah, don't do that this week."
Oh,
I'm like, first of all, I'm sorry. This is nighttime. Am I not at a fucking bar? Like,
yeah,
and B, it's like that's not in my set this week because I am very much the person who like loves rotating sets. I don't like doing the same thing twice in a row at the same bar because like yes, you have tourists, but you also have locals, and locals come to the bar at the same time every week.
yeah.
It's just that's how I've always been.
That's
That's
interesting. I've never been told not to swear at a bar. That's really weird. I don't know how. I don't even. I'm like trying to think like how I would react to that, and I would just probably like, "The fuck are you talking about?"
well, I think it's different like being a patron in a bar and then screaming into a microphone. I think those are like kind of
I mean,
two
I
two.
have I have no room to talk. At the Grabby Awards one year, I literally got on the microphone and like I was a little intoxicated, but like I mean it was the Grabby Awards, like gay porn
Right.
awards and alcohol hand in hand. But I had to speak about Fame Game, which was an amazing movie that like I got to help like from the bottom up. Like I got to help with writing some of it, like you know production assistant stuff. I got to help edit some of it. I got to help like creative direct some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I was speaking about the movie, but like I literally like grabbed the mic and like when they introduced me on stage, and I was like, somebody told me because somebody rewrote the what I had in mind, and I was not prepared for it to be rewritten the like within 12 hours of being on stage. So I was just like kind of trying to read it off my phone a bit. And I was just like, somebody's like, get off your phone. I was like, fuck you all. And it may have not been the best thing to say at the time, but the show went on. So it's good.
See, I don't think I could do anything. If somebody tried to hand me a script for like an award show, I'd be like, okay, I'll take the script, and I'd be like, the secret to being a musician is sometimes you got to be a fucking asshole and just like
Yeah.
say stuff like that and get
Yeah.
people. Because I think sometimes, and what I'd never try and do as an interviewer, because like I watch people who interview. Me being an interviewer, it's so hard because it's like, God, I wouldn't have done this to that person, that to that person, that's to that person.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I was watching an interview with Candace Owens.
Mhm.
Ew. Um, but like she like fell into the trap. It's like the Breakfast Club. She fell into trap. So I'm like, luckily I don't have to trap my guests because I have people who agree with me. Now, anybody who I've ever trash talked, you're absolutely welcome to come on here. I'd love to get in a fight with you. I'd love a Jerry Springer moment. But like,
Oh my god. I almost went on Jerry Springer with my ex one time.
oh
Yeah, it would have. I think it would have been fun. Like,
yeah,
I think it would have been fun, and like, they pay for your flight. They pay for. I think that's probably the only reason I didn't do it is because like they pay for your flight, they pay for your fucking lodging, and they pay for your fucking cigarettes. And I was like, wait, there's no base pay. What the hell?
so they don't even pay you. Oh, so they pay for all this stuff, but they don't pay you to be on TV.
I don't. Well, they might now, but back when they were trying to get my ex and I on there, who was fairly popular at the time, and I mean, we had every right to be on there. We were kind of crazy, but
Right.
um, yeah, they offered to pay like the flight, the lodging, and like buy all of our cigarettes, which like he didn't even smoke. I smoked back then, but I don't really smoke cigarettes anymore.
But that sounds like not a lot of money, and like,
Yeah.
because you have to figure like
It's like in Connecticut. I play.
they're gonna put you in lodging, but they're not putting you at like the Waldorf. They're putting you at like the Motel 6,
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Exactly.
or if you're lucky, the town Parliament House. God, I miss you said Parliament House. I miss that place. When I heard that place closed down after the pandemic, I'm like, well, I'm never moving back to Orlando because
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
loved it.
yes,
I loved it. I had a really, really good time performing there. I wish they would have me back some point at some point. I loved everything. Like we kind of just winged it. Like it was initially, it was all set up before like everything with Pulse and everything.
right.
But then I got there, like they treated me so amazing. And then like we ended up like auctioning off like my underwear and like doing a whole show that I wasn't even planning for. Like we just like winged it and it worked out so well. It was so cool.
Well, I mean, it'd be nice. I would say Orlando's never gonna get that again because even though they're trying to recreate the Parliament House somewhere else, it's not gonna be the same as having a hotel. Like,
Yeah.
it's like you can move it wherever you want. It's not gonna be the same. And like
Yeah.
that used to be the amount of illegal shit that used to go on there. Where let's just say I had I have a blowjob story and a sex story that both happened at Parliament House. So it's like
Yeah.
those are kinds of things where it's like
I feel like
never again.
I was definitely walking on a fine line with legal and not legal while while being there for the weekend. But
Yeah. Well, never mind that. When people say like, "Oh, have you ever done anything illegal?" I'm like, "How much time do we have?"
right, right,
like,
exactly.
like I'm in the entertainment industry. Yeah, I pushed a few boundaries.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, I guess so. What's the freakiest thing that you've done or you've been asked to do on a shoot?
Uh, okay. So was this question specifically like on like stream or like what like
Okay,
movie or
I'm gonna say you can talk professional. You can talk about filming OnlyFans. Like, I'm gonna make this broad. Like, what's the freakiest thing that you've either done or you've been asked
okay. Well, shit. It's a hard question to answer because I'm like, I don't want anybody to think it's not okay to ask me to do something. So it's not that there's anything wrong with it, but I would say the most interesting thing I have done, or like I guess had done, I don't know even what, I don't even know how to describe it aside from like what it actually is. So I guess back in the day, I had somebody who would come over and like they were definitely like in defeat and like that's fine. Like
right?
once again, no king shaming here.
Yeah.
But took it to a different level that I never expected and just out of nowhere. So I guess it was like just more of a surprise than anything. Like so he would like trim my toenails and then like after hanging out, like he would like put them in like the clippings like in his pocket and like take them home and put them in a jar.
Yeah. Well, again, we don't kink shame. Like, my thing is okay. So obviously, I'm going to answer this question because, as I told you, I'm not going to ask you something I want to answer. I would say, ooh, I have a. Well, I mean, fist. My thing is fisting. Just no. I tell all guys that like that was more a thing in Florida. I have not been asked to do that in Detroit, but like,
Yeah.
but that I had somebody wanted me to sit on their face and like eat my ass while I was farting, and like
I
that
mean,
I mean that's what I'm like if I can do it because like as someone like
you're like, if I can do it, I'm dead.
well okay we're gonna we're gonna get real here. Okay, typically
We
when
aren't
someone
real already.
yes
Okay.
no but what I'm saying is when you're eating somebody's ass, at least in my mind, you're theoretically preparing to do something else involving a dick.
Yeah.
So if I'm farting before while you're eating my ass, that makes me think that when you go to fuck me, I'm gonna shit on your dick. And that's not something I want to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I know
I get it.
I mean, granted, I will say guys in Detroit don't seem to mind from my experience. Um well, partially I will say this. This is just Florida versus Detroit. The dicks in Detroit, I mean, granted, I'm primarily having sex with black guys because I'm a thicker bitch and they're into this. But like, um, but yeah, they're definitely bigger than,
Yeah.
and that's where I'm like, I had a guy who's like, we only used to be able to go one round. I'm like, do you know how fucking big your dick is? Like, of
Yeah.
course we only go one round. Like, it doesn't matter how much I clean out. Yeah, something's gonna happen. Your dick is huge.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. It's just funny. Like, I mean, it's just fun. It's just funny. Like, I mean, I obviously understand, like, especially having been in the industry and like
yeah,
my one of my directors, she used to love for me, like, she used to love when I would get fucked on like on camera to see like tears and like she would love it. She lived for it. Like it was her thing. Um, I just think it's funny, like people just like it comes with the territory. Like you're sticking your dick in a fucking asshole. Like sometimes shit happens.
yeah,
Like particularly not my specific thing, but like to each their own. But yeah, good times.
Yeah. Well,
We've
first
all
of
it should be expected at some point or another. I don't know. I just really can't believe if somebody sat here and tried to feed me some bullshit like it's never happened. Anytime I've bought them, there's never been any sort of like anything. I think that's a bullshit lie because we all start from somewhere, and I can guarantee that whenever you first started having sex, you weren't the most knowledgeable about how to douche your asshole.
right.
So.
First of all, always wanted to make you cry. Don't talk about Shishi Liver like that. No. But
That's
like,
funny. Close. I love shisha though, but no, close.
yeah,
Um,
but it's like, yeah, it's like it happens. It's like, first of all, the one time is I hate when guys hook up and they get mad at you for it. It's
yeah,
like, well, my thing is, I'm gonna say this to all the young tops out there, if anyone young is watching. If you're like have a big dick, in and out, in and out, in and out is not a good idea. Like,
it's
hey, you can go play.
annoying too.
Yes. And then he
For me
got
personally.
mad. Yeah. He got mad when like one of the times it wasn't even like a ton of shit. It was like a small amount got on his like a really small amount got
Yeah,
on his dick. And he started freaking out. I'm like, well,
yeah,
maybe if you had kept it in when you were doing hits of poppers
yeah,
as a top, which I will say this again, no kink shaming. I think it's fucking stupid, but no kink shaming.
yeah.
Like I just and I'm like, and then he got mad and I don't ever want to see you again. I'm like, noted. I don't ever want to see you either. Like,
That's funny. People are weird. I don't know. It comes with the territory. Like I guess to our aspiring bottoms out there, even though despite what the camera you see it on Google or wherever you're seeing it, like despite the fact that it always makes me like porn made me like some fucking power bottom. I am not a fucking power bottom. Just to put that out there. Totally verse. Go with the flow. If the
yes,
vibe's right, I'll spread my cheeks and whole, but
yeah,
I like both. It's really dependent on the other person. I just think it's funny how there's this impression that I'm some like power bottom, and I'm like, no, like typically I'm very seldom in my like hookup life, like bottoming unless it's like the right kind of vibe. I don't know.
see,
It's just go ahead.
yeah, I love guys that I can go verse with because it's like I love doing both, and
Yeah,
that wasn't how it was in the beginning, but it's like over the years, it's like you feel it, and then like that first time that like always have safe sex children theoretically, no, but like that first time you come in a guy's ass and like it shoots out and it's like insane, it's like feels
Mhm.
amazing, and you want to keep doing both, and like
Yeah,
that's why I honestly told somebody I'm like I could never date somebody who's like one or the other because it's like we have to like granted, yes, if you want to do one more, like that's fine. But it's like at some point you need to get off. I need to get off. Can we just make a compromise? Like this is supposed to be a symbiosis. We're supposed to like meld together. You
yeah,
should be willing to do whatever.
that's funny. Um, yeah, I've definitely dated the ones that are like strictly bottoms, and like actually that was my most recent relationship, like a love life, if that's what you want to call it. But it was like I don't know, it was kind of annoying because I'm like I don't know, I'm like go with the flow, like flip fuck all day. Like sometimes I get it. Like I don't want to bottom all the time. Sometimes I don't want to top. Sometimes I just want to fucking have my face in the pillow, like whatever. Like it's very go with the flow for me personally. It's kind of more annoying. I guess that's like where like maybe an open relationship with that person, if it's like outside of sex, that's the person I really wanted to be with. I guess that's where an open relationship would probably be better because we both have our needs. I'm more just like lax. Like I definitely am not trying to bottom all the time, especially like I'll be meeting people out at the clubs or something when I do occasionally go out, and like they automatically like, especially if they know who I am, like have seen my work or something, they'll automatically just assume that I'm just gonna like bend over for them. I'm like, bitch, like I'm fucking tired. Like I'm drunk. I'm tired. Like I'm not trying to. Bottoming is a lot of fucking work sometimes. Like
Right.
so I'm like, it really just depends on the moment for me, I guess.
And see, like the thing is, because having a bigger ass, like you're usually just you have a lot of guys who just assume that you're just a bottom. It's
Mhm.
like that's why I'm like fine, but it's also there's some people I get the not wanting to have sex every day. I feel like that's like a great fantasy of like, oh, we're gonna have sex every day, and then like that's sort of wears off, and then like
Yeah.
it's like it's like you want to have sex. I'm like, listen, it's like if you want non-participative sex, I'll like lie in the pillow and you could like fuck my ass all you want, but like
Right.
I'm gonna lie like a fish, not do anything. But if you
Yeah.
want that, if
Yeah.
you if you want that, or like I'll take, or like if you want, I'll like drug myself and you can like fuck me well. No, I'm
Right.
just kidding. I'm
Right.
kidding. I'm
Right.
kidding. Do not.
No, I'm just sitting here like thinking like shout out to my ex, like the pillow queen. How you doing? Stop that.
No. Yes. No. It's not. Well, okay. We're gonna get into that. So obviously, so like, what your dating life has been like is the next question. So like, you want to like, you kind of answered it, so I guess I'll answer now. I've been very single, single for a while because it's like I just, at least for me, and I don't know, maybe for you as a porn performer, you'll feel this. It takes a very secure man
Yeah.
to be with me because it's like, just like you're gonna see somebody getting fucked on camera. I had to have a boyfriend who's gonna watch me make out with two backup dancers and then be like, "Hi, honey,"
Yeah.
like, and that's not everybody because like
No.
people are gonna be like, "I'm jealous." Well, I'm like, or like if I'm flirting with a guest, you have to deal with the fact that like I'm flirting with a guest. It doesn't mean I love you any less. It just means that I'm personable. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll use that as the word.
I think that's a
Um,
good word.
yeah, but it's also you have to be because like, granted, not everyone is this like calm with people and cool and chill. This is just who I am. Like, I don't put on like, granted, I always say like the artifice is on like the visual on the outside. It's like once you get me somewhere, I'm gonna just like tell you my truth because at the end of the day, how the fuck am I gonna expect you to open up if I don't open up myself?
Yeah.
That's
I think that's kind of where I'm at as far as dating. It's funny because it will be funny like if I go back and watch one of my first interviews from when I was like freshly 18. I like was running a studio of my own, and then like compare it to the me now, totally in different places in life. And I think with that is with love life or dating life or whatever it may be. I've definitely had some very, very bad experiences all the way around with relationships with, I guess, people in general, like whether it be like friends or like boyfriends or like what I thought would be more, they thought would be more. I think that right now, currently, I'm just not in the place to like pursue anything, even despite like, I don't know, I'm just not in that place to be ready. I left LA out of a very, very toxic relationship. Um, and I went to Mexico for a couple of years. I kind of found like my internal happiness there, which I didn't realize at the time, but I hadn't had it for a while. I found that again, and then came back, and I was dating. I've dated a couple people, or dated one and went on dates with the other, whatever you want to call it. But
Right.
one went very, very bad. The other just went bad. So like, I'm just, I don't know. I'm very self-focused. I've always been super, for the most part, like independent, but also like I do see myself like in a relationship. I'm kind of needy, and I've realized that. I'm like, why am I so different? Like me, when I'm on my own, I'm totally like happy, and like I'm like, yes, I love that I live alone. I don't have to answer to nobody. I don't have to, But at the when I'm with somebody, and like there is a connection and like feelings or whatever involved, like
Right.
I guess I'm willing to give up a lot more of myself than I actually should. And probably quicker than I should, because a lot of people don't actually deserve, like, and I'm not saying this to sound cocky, so don't get it twisted, anybody, but I don't think a lot of people deserve like the love I actually have to give.
I can kind of get that. I mean, the thing I have to say is to you saying getting older. It's like I look at everything I do. I look at performing in I'm gonna sound so old. I'm barely out of my 20s. But it's like I look at like my early 20s when I used to perform, I just used to be so angry.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden I got older now, and it's like I always tell people it's like the secret is you want to be older and look younger. So that way
that's
if you have to lie about your age, you just look wise.
that,
Like
that's the truth though. Like I, even at a very young age, very, very young age, which goes into deeper things we're not going to talk about.
yeah,
Like I always was with, and this is like friend wise too, but always with like the older crowd. I always just related to with people that were older than me, or at least like more mature than me, or like what society
absolutely.
has deemed that I need the maturity level I need to have at this age and this age and that age. I've always like been gravitated towards like those kind of people. Um, I think I don't know, it's very interesting. I don't know. I kind of like am in a spot in my life now where I'm like not I'm trying to be more selfish than I always have been. Like I said, like I don't think a lot of people deserve like a love like what I have to offer. I don't necessarily think that's false, but also like that's a good thing. And like if you don't feel that way, like I think you need to like reflect a little bit better, because like on yourself, because like I like it's not necessarily being high maintenance, it's like knowing what you deserve and not
Right.
settling for less.
Yeah. First, okay, one point that you said, which is you related to people that you're older. It's honestly, I think that's a queer person thing because it's like if you look at, for example, most of the straight guys when we were growing up, it's like, oh, let's hit each other in the nutsack. Like that's the
That is so
thing,
true.
and it's like, and it's like,
Yeah.
and everyone when
and
people
now,
say
and
when
now
people,
they're DL on Grinder.
yeah, exactly. And they're always the ones who are like, gay people always think they're smarter than straight people. I'm thinking, well, gee, you make yourselves look like dumbasses all the time.
That's true.
Let's get real. Y'all idolize like Larry the Cable Guy. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to think you're fucking intelligent. Like,
Right. That's so funny and so true. Yeah.
I mean, but in terms of
I
well, okay,
fucking forgot about Larry the Cable Guy. They really did idolize him, didn't they?
yes.
Uh,
See, I watch old stuff like I love going back to Howard Stern. I love the older stuff because it's like the things he used to be able to do in 2006, like what you could do back then.
Yeah,
Granted, yes, some of it was racist and like sexist and stuff, but it's like the fact that they were just able to say stuff
yeah,
that like now I remember like Lisa Lampanelli, one of my favorite comedians of all time, like she could not have a career now. She'd be
yeah,
canceled
yeah,
so fast. Yeah.
yeah.
And
The sensitive stuff for me. I mean, like, I have my sensitive moments. Not really, but sometimes. But I
yeah.
don't know. I'm just like used to not having the filter. It's very hard for me to just like not just say like I'm a pretty open book in general, so it's really hard for me not to say what's on my mind when it's on my mind. Um, but
Yeah.
also like there's definitely lines that you don't cross, and I feel like back in the day it was just more of a norm for people to like cross it and just like okay and what.
Well, like the thing is my goal is never to like intentionally hurt people, but if you say what do you think about me? Like what do you think of me? What do you think of me looks wise? And I say you look like you got hit by a truck. Like I'm just going to be like you asked for an opinion, I gave you the honest truth. Like
Yeah, yeah. I
actually I'm joking. Don't say that to anybody. Like
I mean, I wouldn't personally. I but you know what? If you don't say that, then I guess fine because you're thinking it. So it really depends where your morals are at. Think about that one.
Well, I mean, honestly, like when people say like, "Oh, you're so good at roasting," like one of my favorite drag queens of all time is Bianca Del Rio. Like that's what she's known for. Like,
I mean,
has
I'll
she
never.
crossed?
Go ahead.
Yeah, has she crossed the line before? Absolutely. But like,
Oh
you have to cross lines. Like,
yeah. I mean, I'll never forget her at the cafe in San Francisco. Um, when somebody was yelling something at her on stage and she totally just read them. That was like right before she won the first time. Um, like she just roasted the fuck out of him on stage. Actually, funny story with her. When I first met her, it was actually super funny because to be honest, like I don't watch too much RuPaul. Like I watch it
right?
when people I know are on it.
Yeah,
Like I'm not like religiously watching it. Like I've seen every. I will tell you right now, I haven't seen every season. Uh,
right.
so like I did not watch her season. I just saw like obviously all the memes and everything from it, and then clips here and there from that season. And I was with Kyle Cash, and he, I just moved to LA. We were at Mickey's in West Hollywood, and I guess like Bianca was there, like, but not as Bianca.
Right.
And I was sitting next to Bianca, and I didn't realize it. And they were like, oh hi, like what's your name? Da 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 da. And then, like I told them Bray. They're like, oh, and they said their name, and I was like, okay, like what do you do? And they're like, oh, I do drag. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, what's your drag name? And she's like, Bianca Del Rio. And I was like, ah. I was like, I do know who you are. And she's like, oh, don't pretend to know me now, bitch. And I was like, oh, I was like, damn, busted.
Well, I will say this: I did not watch last season of Drag Race because again, to RuPaul's Drag Race. Who the fuck has cable anymore? Why are you putting it on MTV? Just,
Yeah.
just, just saying. This season I might because I actually know somebody because I actually competed against them in a competition
Okay.
one time, which is Susie Toot. She's on this season, and like I know her, but like this would be the first time I've actually seen somebody that like, oh yeah, I've actually met this person. But
Okay.
in terms of like, would I ever want to do it? My answer is simply no. I,
Yeah.
as I always say, like I want to do like The Voice or I don't even know if I want to do The Voice. That's the thing. Like I have like a love-hate relationship with reality like competition shows. Like
Yeah.
I have that thing where I'm like, I want to do them, but I'm like, and I've put in auditions, and I'm like, I put one in for The Voice last month, and
Hmm.
I'm like, granted, I never heard anything back, and somebody's like, oh, they didn't get back to you. I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna, I'm still gonna keep on doing what I'm doing. Like,
Yeah.
they're not gonna be able to stop me from doing what I want, and it's like, plus, at some point, I don't fit in any of those molds, which is why I have a concept for a show. If producers are listening, I have a concept for a singer-songwriter show that I would be a judge on
Hmm.
that I think would be better because, like, there has not been a singer-songwriter show. There's been a songwriter show, which sucks, but there's
Yeah.
not been a singer-songwriter show, and I'm like, granted, you'd have to put it on HBO because, like, they're gonna have to censor me where I'm gonna be like, because I'd be the bitch would be like, "Who the fuck told you you could write a song? Who the fuck told you you could sing? Get out of here!" Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I had some ideas for it was more of like a series kind of thing. It was pitched to a couple management places and like we were gonna roll with it, but then the fucking COVID happened, and everything got shut down, so it kind of went on the back burner for obviously a long time. But I definitely like I don't know. I think if I was in choir as well, by the way.
Yeah.
So like American Idol was like when I was in choir, that was the dream, but not anymore. Not since my balls dropped. We're not singing anymore. But I would be down for like Big Brother or like maybe the Squid Games. I almost applied for this year. Squid Games 2, I almost applied for. I think 2025 is going to have me kind of applying to a little bit more like reality kind of style. Um, and then like I said, I have a couple producers that I'm working with right now to hopefully do some more like independent kind of style films. Um,
Yes.
so that would be cool. But yeah, I think hopefully 2025 will be a lot less shitty than this year. And I hate being one of those people that is like every fucking year they're on Facebook. And no offense to anybody, but every fucking year I see you and you post the same fucking thing that this year sucks so bad. Here's to the next year. And you post the same shit the next year. So just letting you know that's annoying. Uh,
Well, well, it's because a lot of people don't want to do things for themselves. It's like, listen, as we were saying before, I've done 100+ interviews. Like
yeah.
that didn't come with doing nothing. It's like when I didn't see somebody on my path, I did my own. I asked people, I jumped out. Sometimes you have to be able to sit there and be like, "Oh, but I'm afraid of getting rejected." Guess what?
Yeah.
Rejection's a part of life. Fucking deal with it. Like,
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
I mean, and you're never gonna find out. It's just crazy to me, like when people are like, they don't even try because they're scared of rejection. And like, yeah, I think in a way we're all kind of scared of rejection, not maybe in different situations, kind of, but as far as like putting yourself out there in order to like just do something that you want to do or like a dream of yours or whatever, I think it's super important. Like if you don't try, you're not gonna get fucking anywhere.
yeah.
Like you're pretty much just like sealing the deal right there that it's never gonna happen if you're not even trying. Like rejection is part of like the process in order to get where you ideally want to be at some point or whatever. But
And plus, like, you get to meet, especially doing this, you get to meet cool people. You get to meet cool people from around the country. That's why people are like, even when I was in small town Florida, and like, I knew Ricky Roman. Like, I
mhm,
had his cell phone number. We were talking. Like, all this stuff because it's like I am that kind of person where it's like, do I become friends with everybody? No. Do I become friends with a lot of people? Yes, because it's like
Yeah.
I don't know. People trust me. I want to say people trust me. I feel like they should.
I
If
mean, yeah, for sure. I totally get it. I think like it's just kind of funny because like I mean even in my life like when I was just doing webcam stuff and I actually like so getting into porn like I had a producer and a director reach out to me to come work for them initially, like a more amateur company. But like the rest of it was like moves I made, like, and they wouldn't have happened if I didn't make connections and I didn't like if I just thought I was gonna get rejected, so I didn't even try. Like none of this would have even happened for me. So like I don't know. I think it's like it definitely for the younger viewers, if there are any that are, you know, late teens, 20s, whatever, that are like considering like any kind of entertainment role, like it's comes with the territory. So like you'll never know if you don't actually fucking try, I guess. But that
right,
sounds so cliche.
yes,
But I mean, I was denied when I was like actively applying for different studios. Like somebody denied like got on cam with me and like interviewed me and was like, "Oh, you're so cute, da 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 da," but like your eyebrows are too big. So like I got denied for doing porn because my
what?
eyebrows were too big at the time. At the time, and I'm like, I could fix that though. So like it's silly things like that. Like it might just be something stupid. Like that particular, casting director or whatever
Yep.
might just have some weird little thing with like thinner eyebrows. Like move on, go to the next one.
Yes. And plus, Bray wouldn't be here the highlight of his career. No, I'm kidding. But like,
I mean, my
um,
eyebrows are kind of thick right now, but
yes,
that's something I can fix.
yes. It's just like if somebody were to tell me like my thing is sunglasses. Somebody said like, actually no, I'm gonna say you're gonna deal with me with sunglasses, or you're gonna pay for somebody to do my makeup because I don't know how to do eyes. Um, but like anyway, so what's your relationship to drugs and alcohol?
Um, So I've definitely I'm gonna put it out there. I have definitely. I mean, there's no hiding anything. Honestly, like you can fucking Google me, and I'm sure you can find articles that like how I was probably a drunk mess at this event or that event. I'm sure you'll find photos too if you look hard enough. I mean, even if you watch my stories, sometimes I'm a fucking mess sometimes. Like, but I own it at least. As far as drugs, I definitely, especially in my younger 20s, I definitely experimented with different things. Um, I try not to. I mean, I used to be a huge stoner too, and I don't even smoke weed anymore. It's kind of weird. Um, so I think I kind of burnt myself out on like you know, weed and like, cause I was like 16 to 18. I was like the fucking biggest stoner ever, like all day, every day. I don't even know how I'm like still like alive because I would be so fucking high.
Right.
It would be like, I guess that's maybe what carried over with like, typically I'm such a mellow, unless I'm drinking a little bit, I'm a very mellow person. I guess that came from that, but I had my rave phase where, like, I've done some ecstasy. I've tried things. I've experimented, just like young people do. Drinking, I still partake in. I had a shot before and during this. I don't know if
Yeah.
you noticed.
Yeah. Well, I, my thing is, to my point, like in terms of drugs, the only thing I've never done anything illegal. My thing is, people are like, it's because they're morally opposed to it. A, I'm too cheap to pay for it myself. and B, I want to be with like somebody I know who's like giving me legit shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to like do coke for the first time, like for the like first time get hooked, and then all of a sudden end up dead. Like
Yeah. I would say, I mean, I've definitely done coke. I've definitely done ecstasy, Molly, weed. I've never done shrooms, LSD, anything to that effect because it's like I definitely know that it's like a lot more mind altering, and I'm like super. After seeing that, what's that fucking movie that's like cat, like some mushroom movie that's like they're in cow fields and
oh
it's like a horror movie, and they like freak out on shrooms and have a bad trip, and they're in like this field. I don't know. Anyways, I don't want that to happen, but I've definitely had my fair share of like experimenting. Um, I would just say like, especially like, it's been a lot more like accepted about people who party and stuff. Like, um, the older I get, it seems like we've progressed a lot more towards people are like, oh, you do some coke in the bathroom? That's cool. Like, whatever. Do
well,
what you.
right,
I'm kind of similar. I'm just like, as long as you're smart about it, it's okay to be dumb sometimes. Just be smart about it. Test your
right,
shit. If you're gonna fucking do a rail in the bathroom, test your shit. Make sure that you're not just buying it off a street corner. Like
absolutely.
yeah,
See, and then to the alcohol point, my thing is, I don't drink when I perform. That only comes from a night where I almost got a DUI. So I'm like,
uh,
so it's like a night where people were just handing me drink after drink after drink after drink, and then I got in my car and I had to drive an hour home. I literally almost made it. Actually, yeah, it was an hour home. I almost made it all the way home, and like then that's when I got pulled over by a cop, and like luckily my dad bailed my ass out. Otherwise, I
yeah,
would have gotten a DUI. But like, it's like I don't need it. It's like I'm singing. It's probably better for my voice to be having water and green tea anyway. It's like,
yeah,
but again, I'm not opposed to it. First of all, that's my thing with entertainers. It's like if you're gonna buy a drink, like spend the $10 and just give it to me. Like, give me the money. I'd rather have the money. Like,
yeah.
it's
Right.
like especially with the way the economy is now, and
Mhm.
newsflash, the economy's not gonna get any better next year. Just saying.
I mean, but oh wait, the groceries aren't either.
Nothing's gonna get better.
Yeah, no, I saw some shit today about how somebody doesn't think that they're going to be able to fix the grocery inflation either. But I don't know who saw that coming, but
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think half of us did.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I like my relationship with alcohol. Like, I'm sure there's misconceptions of like that. I'm just like 365 party boy, like fucking partying it up all the time. And like, I guess what I have to say to that is like, you only see what I allow you to see, whether
Right.
you follow me on social media or you hit me up on Grinder. Like, you see what I allow you to see.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now that like, if you actually know me, like, I don't just sit here or go out every single night. I'm not constantly intoxicated. I actually have like kind of a brain in here somewhere. Uh, I'm very like what I do in tech is more like it's very analytical, like studying data and stuff like that. So like it's I guess it's that answers another one of your questions. It's just like a big misconception of like
Right.
what some people assume, and like even people that I have socialized with on quite a few occasions. The thing is that you never know like what's else is going on in somebody's life, and then like I said, you're only seeing what that person or me in this case is
Right.
showing you publicly. So it may look like I'm out drinking here and there or at home streaming, playing video games, drinking, or whatever, but like it doesn't necessarily mean like that is a problem that I'm having. Typically it's something else going on. Uh, so yeah, my relationship with it, I know when to stop. Like I've definitely had my fair share of nights where I have definitely blacked out. I've done it at a few very important parties, but like it's not something that I'm like I can't stop doing this.
Right. And like, I mean, I kind of get it. Like, um, definitely, yeah. I mean, just to answer that question, I got another one after that. But like, the biggest misconception that people think about me is that they think I'm intimidating. Because I mean,
I,
granted, I'm not short. I will absolutely say that I'm 6'3", and then depending on what shoes I'm wearing, I'm between 6'6" and 7 feet tall.
yeah,
Because like today, I have on my super tall shoes because I knew I was going to be sitting. I'm wearing Frankenstein boots, but like it's like, but I'm also it's like have a conversation with me. It's like I'm only a bitch if you either if like I can read that I think you're disingenuous or you've done something to me.
yeah. I'm the same way. Actually, that's I did see that question, and beyond being like 365 party boy and
Yeah,
like some just that's all I do, and like whatever. I for one, I don't think I would have gotten this far if I was like literally struggling. And nothing wrong with people like my father is a heroin addict, so like nothing wrong with people with addiction. Like it's real, it's a thing, and it's like it's it's definitely a disease in my opinion. Um, but like that's not what's happening here, and because I do know when to stop, I do know how to like I guess if I'm an alcoholic or any kind of drug addict, I would be a functioning one, so that's
yeah.
cool.
It's
But the other like part of that is like the biggest like you said, like people are very intimidated by me because they don't actually know me. Like I've had like I get that most commonly. People were like, well, I thought you were a bitch when I first met you because you didn't really say anything. Well, backstory here is like I'm actually a little bit shy, like first meeting people, and I guess maybe
right.
that's like past trauma or something. But like I am a little bit shy and reserved because I'm like trying to get a feel of like who you are.
Yes.
So yeah, people. I mean, aside from the tattoos and like everything like that, people get intimidated by me too, and they think I'm like stuck up or a bitch, and I'm like, no, I just didn't know you, and you didn't really give me the opportunity to get to know you before you like made judgments.
Well, okay. Here's what I'm gonna say to the um thing of being quiet. Most entertainers talking about porn, anything, are introverts. If you meet the extroverted performer, as I always say, the extroverted person who's like always at the bar being like, hi, hi, how is everybody doing? Hi, yes, hi.
Yeah,
That's the person who, when shit really goes down, they have nobody to talk to
yeah,
because they have no real friends. Because
right. I mean, and I
that's
can't say that I haven't been there. Like I've definitely gotten like wrapped up in like the Hollywood bullshit. Like I've definitely got wrapped up at certain not for very long because like
yeah,
I know how to dig myself like get myself out of a fucking hole. But I've definitely been in places where like it's like I was going out constantly and I was like I relied on that like a crutch in order to like maintain like happiness and I guess stability, but nothing like stable becomes of going out every fucking night.
right. And the people are like, especially to the like nightlife entertainers who are like, but I have to drink when I'm out. But do you? It's
Yeah,
like it's like if you have to get this is just my opinion. Some people may disagree. If you have to get fucked up before you perform, maybe you're not that good. Like
yeah. Okay. Well, hey. Okay.
it's
Maybe on that one, I might. Okay, it also depends on the environment, and the reason I might be a little tiny bit in a disagreement is because I used to dance for a Latino like group that goes all over the country and like they perform, and it's mostly like Spanish music. And
Right.
just so y'all know, like I'm not Latino in any kind of way, even though some people think that. It's kind of funny.
People think
Um,
I am too. Not to interrupt
yeah,
you, but people think I am too.
no,
Like,
you're good.
yeah.
But yeah, like actually, I did have problems with the person who ran these events at one point because like they're like, you can't have more than one drink, and I was like, what's the point then? Like, if I'm not gonna catch a little buzz to loosen up, I'm gonna be dancing like a little stick up here. So like, I get that. Like, depending on the environment,
Oh,
like
oh, okay. Here's where I'm gonna ask this question. So are you talking about like go-going or like
yeah,
stripping? Okay.
yeah,
To that point, when people like when go-go boys or strippers have to get fucked up, it's because people feel, some people, not me, of course, because I've interviewed enough dancers to where I have some common sense.
mhm.
Because motherfuckers think just because you're up there dancing that they can stick their finger in your ass. Like,
No.
what? First of all, it's like, what the fuck gives you any sort of entitlement?
Yeah.
I remember the first time I was at a strip club after doing this, and like, I was there. I had the dancer tell me, I'm like, okay, where can I touch it? That was the first question I asked them. I'm like, where can I touch it?
Yeah.
Because at least to me, that's respectful. Then like,
Yeah.
although I will say this, I did have a dancer. This is at the same night. I had a dancer literally pop and grind on me till I got a boner. So I mean, like
Okay.
sometimes it goes both ways.
It
Like,
does. It does.
like sometimes I was just thinking, I'm like, oh, I just put $1, and then all of a sudden, when I saw the leg like go up to the other wall, and then all of a sudden they were on my crotch, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, wow. I'm like,
Yeah.
work. It's like you do you. I support people clearly. I would say in this, after doing this for a while, you have to support everybody in every industry because it's like, listen, people are out there like entertaining you. They're out there doing a hustle. Like they're out there
Yeah.
making money. Like just let them be. Let them, and whatever you do, if they're your friends and you see shit go down, be like, "N- not when I'm here. You're not gonna do that to my friend when I'm here
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something like,
Yeah. That's great.
yeah,
Yeah. That's pretty much same here.
yeah,
I just like I actually had like a whole Jerry Springer moment in the parking lot in a city in California, about like having a couple of drinks before I performed like go-go dancing at a club, and I was just like, okay, but I'm an adult, and like, okay, I get it. If I was sloppy, that's one thing, but
yeah,
I've done nothing wrong or like
right.
anything to like show you that like I'm being sloppy while I'm working. So like, I'm like, if I need a shot or two to loosen up before I'm fucking working for you to make my shitty ass base pay,
Mm-hmm.
like, then
Believe
so
me,
fucking be it.
believe. This is the thing. I will say this. The this is just my view on people who have dancers and the fact that dancers don't get paid. I will say a bare minimum, a tipped minimum wage
Yeah.
for dancing
Yeah.
to me is outrageous. And the fact that some places charge dancers to perform,
Yeah, that's insane.
say what?
I would never.
It's like, baby, you wouldn't have people in here because it's like your
Yeah.
bar can run with alcohol, but you bring in dancers, you're gonna get a lot more people in that bar.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they
And
have, I mean, there's a lot of, I guess, I wanted to say weaseling around that too, I guess. Like, nothing wrong with having a competition, like, if there's a prize involved or something, but they'll have like
Right.
competitions where it's like, oh, you get the title of best go-go dancer. That's like, wait, but these
Yes.
people are like bringing people in. Like you have to like compensate in one way or the other. At least give them a fucking drink or something.
Right. Well, because first of all, some people think, and I will say this, I know better. But if you think at a bare minimum, if you're not tipping people, you should at least have your phone out, film them, ask them what their Instagram, whatever is, tag them so they can use that. At a bare minimum, if you're not tipping,
Yeah,
you
I
should be
agree with that.
filming.
I agree with that.
Because
I'm very yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, because I had somebody that same night. They're like, "Do you have money?" I'm thinking, I'm in a bar with strippers. Yes, I have money. Of course, I'm going to give you money. Like, and
Yeah,
they let me touch them. But I'm like, obviously, I'm here with money. Like, if I don't have money and I'm in a strip club, that seems a little weird to me.
yeah. I did have that instance my first time in Vegas though, but my friends, my straight friends, took me to fucking a straight titty bar. And
Yeah.
like they kept asking me to massage me and shit, and I knew what they wanted. Like they wanted money. They're working. They're not offering me a massage for free. And then when I was
Right.
like, no, like I didn't bring any money here because I did not think that anybody would want anything to do with me. Like the bitch got hella pissed at me, and I was like, girl, I don't even play with like for your team. Like,
Yes.
no.
Yes. Yes. It's like, honestly, it's like, I didn't want to be here. Go away, future Cardi
And it's
B.
not like
Like,
I'm coming up to you and like in awe or anything. I'm just like I was standing in the corner, like trying to mind my own fucking business, trying to see the least amount of fucking pussy as I can.
that's the one thing that is one experience I've never, luckily, I don't have straight friends really. So, like, I've never had that experience. So, like, but I could just not imagine. There's one, like, not far from my apartment. Like, this,
Yeah.
but, like, I'm like, no.
They were
'Cause
just so aggressive, like so fucking aggressive. And I'm like, I get it, girl, make your money, but like probably find somebody that's like looking for you because I'm sure as hell not.
no, it's like I'm more. It's like, girl, I'm more excited about the guy in the corner who's gonna get an erection from dancing you
Right.
than like I
Yeah,
am
exactly.
at all with your punani. But it's like, it's like, again, you do you. It's like, be free.
Yeah.
Yes, and okay. So I guess I'll skip back to the question before the last question to make it the last
Mhm.
question. What are your thoughts on? God, I talk a lot. What are your thoughts on how the LGBT community is being treated today? On
Um,
how?
right now in this very moment,
Yes.
um, God, it really like I thought we had a lot of decent things going for us as a community for the most part, like aside from like all the bullshit with like the drag thing and like all of that.
Right.
um I think kids, when I say kids, I'm using that term lightly. I think younger youth is
Right.
actually kind of blessed to have what we kind of paid for them as far as like
Right.
I see it being a lot easier in school, like less bullying as far as like gay kids or whatever they identify as. I would say I'm really concerned with the path we're going. uh,
Right.
there's still a lot of work to be done, and definitely might be a lot more than we had in mind. But it's funny because like one of my favorite movies is actually like Love, Simon. Um,
Oh.
but it's funny because watching that movie and Love, Victor, like the series,
Yes.
um, like you see them in school and it's like, damn, like where the fuck was that for me? Because like everybody's like all clapping and happy for two gay kids, and I'm like, that was not realistic. like
No,
as far as when I was going to school.
right.
So I think that we have had a lot of improvement over the years. I'm nervous, definitely some anxiety about like how we're gonna handle everything, but
Yes.
um, I think uh, I think overall, I think everything will be okay. I'd like to hope.
Yes. I would say to this, with what happened with, I hate to, I'm going to briefly get political, but it's unfortunately you have to with this. It's
Yeah.
like with what happened in 2020, what happened in the election,
Hmm.
I kind of had an inkling before I left Florida. I'm like, because one of the things I said was in the back of my mind, I thought if something bad happens, meaning what ended up happening, I'm like, I'd rather be in Detroit than be in Florida
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
you're better off. Like,
Yeah.
and I kind of think that it's in a good place. I look at some of my friends in Florida who are performers because this isn't my thing in Detroit. Eventually, other than like making music, my other goal is eventually at some point I want to do my own show. I want to
Hmm.
be like, but I don't necessarily want to do a show with locals. I want to approach a bar and be like, I want to bring in this person who's so talented, who sits there, who does burlesque, who does fire, like does
Yeah.
this stuff. I don't see this in Detroit. I want to bring this here to you and have this at your bar. I
Yeah.
want to see this person who does burlesque. I want to see this person who does all this different. Yeah, because there's stuff that I would say this Detroit has a gay scene, at least from what I've seen of the go-go dancers. It's very broy,
Yeah.
and I want to bring a little bit of that femme in there and like just
It's
I don't know, stir shit up.
yeah, it's kind of funny because like actually like the culture as far as drag and go-go dancing or stripping or whatever is so
Yes.
different. Like the contrast between like here and Mexico is so different. It's so wild. Like they have Puerto Vallarta where like I was staying
Right.
for a while, like has like male strip shows where they're like they'll get naked, and I realize that some of that comes down to like state laws as well.
Right.
California, you're not supposed to show like full genitalia at all. But they're like they have like some awesome shows with like holes from the ceiling to the floor where they'll spin around with a boner, or like they're drag like they have drag queens that do like shows with fire, and it's like it's
Yes.
crazy. It's super cool and very like it's very inspiring for sure.
And I'm also one of those people who's very much in the way that I feel like a lot of queer people aren't. I'm very much about as much as I hate nepotism, I'm very much about booking my friends because it's like,
Yeah.
listen, I would say this, not that I haven't gotten any support from the drag community, but like I've gotten a lot more support from go-go dancers and strippers than I have drag queens. So it's like
Yeah.
that's why I have more of that um sort of symbiosis. And I support my friends. Like I at least for me, it's like when I go to like congratulate my friend or like post them in my Instagram story, like, bitch, you better work, like all this. Like,
Yeah.
I feel so many people, so many people are threatened by other people's success. And my response
That's
is, I I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for other people's success. I wouldn't be here if other people took a chance on me, didn't take a chance on me. Shit. Like
yeah, that's true.
it's
Well, a lot of
as
people
is.
think that a lot of people think that they're like the initial like person who like thought of some of these things. So like they thought they created this when it's like
Right.
we've been doing that for years. Like I don't know.
Exactly. It's like people who think like drag queens who are musicians, like that's such a like revolutionary idea. It's like, girl, Adore Delano was doing the shit before I was, and before Adore Delano was RuPaul, and if you go before RuPaul, there was Divine. So it's like nobody like is
Yeah,
original, but
yeah.
we all have influences. We all have stuff. Like
It's kind of
the
funny. Like on the Adore Delano note, like Danny Noriega on American Idol was like my first gay crush ever.
yes.
And then like later on in life, like me and Adore Delano, we headlined OC Pride in Orange County together, which was like, I mean, like we know each other now, like we've hung out, but like it's crazy, like thinking back to like choir class, my choir instructor, like having us watch
Yeah.
American Idol, and like Danny Noriega on there was like one of her people that she like kind of had us like
Right.
pay attention to see like how they're doing it. And it's crazy now like to see like especially Adore's come like such a long way, and I'm so happy for her.
Adore is, I will say this. The one time I've met Adore before.
Yeah,
I was extremely nervous meeting Adore because like this was the thing. This was when I was living in Orlando performing at Parliament House. Like this was the thing. I used to do like in addition to my own stuff, I would usually do like a cover, and I used to do Jump the Gun and ICU and After Party and
mhm.
Dynamite, songs that were Doors. I used to perform these songs in these straight bars, and I had bros all the time thinking that they were my songs. I'm like, no, like, thank you. I
Yeah.
wish, but no. But and I remember meeting Adore. I was so nervous. Like, she asked me, she's like, "Is there anything else?" Because like I wanted to say so much, and I froze.
Really?
Yeah, that was before this. Because it said if I met Adore now, I'd be like, "Hey, girl, what's tea?" Like all this, like
Yeah.
because I'm better with people now.
Yeah, she's like one of the most sweetest, down to earth like people. Like what you see is really what you get with her, as far as like she doesn't really come off like cunty and whatever, and she's really not. Like behind the scenes when the cameras aren't looking, she's still the same like quirky sweetheart. Like yeah, I love Adore so much.
It's like with a lot of people, the only person that I've gotten to like meet in terms of doing this that I've had that experience with is actually not someone I like looked up to, but like somebody that I had like known for years was Ricky Roman. Like
Yeah.
Ricky was like, and I never know. Like I always tell people, I'm like, I never know what somebody's gonna be like till they get here. Because it's like
Yeah.
some people have gotten here, like I'm thinking, oh, this is gonna be a breeze, and it's sometimes it's literally like I'm the dentist trying to yank the teeth out of people. Like
Yeah.
it is just it's the worst. But like Ricky was so like calm and chill, and we're working. I keep to all the people out there who love my interviews with Ricky. I'm I've been talking to him. I'm trying to get him back on. It's been I'm at a point now where I'm like kind of like settled down. I'm in a routine. I can do stuff in Detroit. Like
Yeah.
because I always the one thing I tell people, and by the way, this isn't smart for everybody. So if you have money saved up, you can do this. But I came to Detroit with no job. Like I came here, literally put all my savings into moving, pretty much,
Yeah.
and then I just door dashed till I got a job and figured it out. Like,
Yeah. That's
and
fun.
sometimes you have to do that. Like, it's scary, but I say take a leap. Take a leap.
Yeah, starting over, starting fresh is never. I mean, it's hard, but it's never like done me dirty. Like,
Well, you move. Well, I mean, I was scared to move 1,000 miles. You moved to an entirely different country.
I did,
Like
yeah,
that to me would be like.
yeah. It
I
was
mean,
it was crazy, and like not only that, like I moved to a new country, and then like work at the time had me in Asia, like and the
wow.
Philippines for tech stuff that I was doing. So like 3 to 4 months out of last year, like I was between the Philippines, like Asia, like Tokyo. I went to Tokyo, here, and then Mexico the rest of the year. So it was a very, very, very crazy year last year, but very thankful for it. Like I love that I was able to see different places and like the cultures in those places. Like the people in the Philippines are like the sweetest people you'll ever meet. Like
Right.
it's crazy. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with starting over, starting fresh. It's scary as fuck, like because it's like the anxiety of what if. But like, I mean, I feel like we all have to like kind of jump that hurdle on a daily basis with any situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you said last year was crazy for you. This year was crazy for me because at the same time I was moving to Detroit, or like looking to move here. I was also at the same time in a competition with Rolling Stone. So like that was one of those things. I literally got eliminated right before the semifinals, but I'm like, when some people are like, "Oh, you didn't win," but I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, I almost made it to like the semifinals with like, and and I literally tell people, if it were not for this and like having supportive people who have been guests on here, I wouldn't have made it as far as I did. Like, I
That's
fully
really
believe
cool.
that.
I love that.
And that's why you have to support people. That's why, like, if, for example, like if Bray ever reached out and said, like, look, I need support for something, I'd be like, absolutely. Like, what do you need? Like,
Love that.
you know, I,
Yeah.
I, I am that kind of person. Like,
Yeah, I am too. I have friends that ask me to help like support them in their little ventures, like with their little businesses or like even just promo. Like I still help people in Mexico that like they're throwing an event and like they know that I have a following from Mexico as well. So they'll ask me to like promote stuff for them or help them out. And one way or the other, I don't like what is it hurting me? It's not. And it's like if anything, like it doesn't take much out of my day to post something. Like
yeah,
crazy.
definitely. Yes. Well, with that, it was definitely like I say all the time is a pleasure meeting people. Sometimes I mean well no, sometimes I mean it, sometimes I don't.
Okay.
It was definitely a pleasure meeting you. Like definitely.
Yeah,
Because
definitely you as well.
yes. Because I will say this, I'm always weary of people from LA just because um of the stuff we mentioned before. LA has like a reputation that
It does.
well, but then again, everywhere has a reputation. People think Detroit is more dangerous than it is. It's like
Yeah.
I remember so many people telling me they're like, "You're gonna get murdered if you move to Detroit." I'm like, "Calm the fuck down." Like,
I mean, I
it's
had people tell me if I moved to Mexico, I was going to get kidnapped and murdered, but I lived there almost 3 years. So
yeah,
I mean, it's like
it's like
everywhere.
yeah, it's at the end of the day, you mind your own business, you do your own thing,
Yeah.
and if you leave people alone, most times I don't know in foreign countries, but most of the time, if you leave people alone, they're not gonna come after you because like you're minding your own business.
Yeah.
If you're the nosy bitch who's like, "Oh my god, look at this." I mean,
Yeah.
granted, I don't have proof of this, but I'm pretty sure that like drugs and prostitution goes on in my apartment building. Like,
I
but
same.
like, but like, but I
But I
honestly,
mind my business, so I don't fuck
yeah,
around. I don't find out.
Yeah,
I have an idea, but like I don't fuck around and find out because I don't want to be involved.
no, yeah, that's why you again. It's like leave your peace, go about your day,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, if you're not nosy, that's the problem. Some people are like, "But I want to know." It's like it's none of your business.
Yeah.
Unless somebody's coming to murder you, leave them the fuck alone. Like,
Yeah, or unless somebody's being like, assaulted or kidnapped or held hostage or something, that's a little bit different. But like, other than that, mind your fucking business.
well, okay. I will say this: I very much am minding your own business. I remember the first time in Orlando, I was scared. I remember in my first apartment complex, there was somebody screaming for help outside, and me being like, I don't want to get involved. I just let him scream. Like, I don't, I don't say that's a good thing, but
Yeah.
sometimes you have to think where it's like, is it really worth it?
Yeah, I
No.
mean, I guess that's what the police are supposed to be for, but
Yeah,
is that what they're for anymore? I don't know.
that,
I
that's the
don't
that's the
know.
thing. The police are theoretically supposed to help you. I'm not fucking George Zimmerman. Like,
Yeah,
no. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, with that being said, this is I have to find a way to end this. So this is gonna be like an awkward ending. But fuck
Uh-oh.
it. This is Gay Out the City. I'm your host, Prince Electro Diamond, and I hope you've enjoyed.